Everybody has one podcast. We are back.
Yes.
Another week. So much going on in the world of sports. So much to discuss. I'm your host, Jason Flake. My co-host, Lance Reynolds, a.k.a. the People's Champ.
What up, though?
Like to start the same way every week, man. Thanking Everybody Has One family for another great week of engagement, man. Thousands of views on the YouTube channel, man. Great engagement on the social sites. Make sure y'all continue to like, share, and subscribe. That is Everybody Has the #1 sports podcast on YouTube. Everybody Has One sports podcast everywhere else. That is Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, and Twitch. We are also the audio version of the podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. Make sure y'all check that out. Make sure y'all watching those videos in their entirety. Make sure y'all hitting up the shorts. When y'all grab the shorts, man, make sure y'all share those on your personal social medias, man. And make sure y'all give us a share right now, man. If y'all are tuned in live, man, share this on your social media platforms. Let everybody know that we are live right now. And we appreciate y'all so much for hanging in there with us, man. And y'all know we are here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. or as close as we can get to it, man. And without further ado, we're going to get into the topics, man, because there's a lot to discuss.
Yeah, man.
A lot to unpack from over the weekend. We're going to start with the NFL. Obviously, this was the divisional round.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to wrap that up. Then we're going to preview championship weekend coming up. We got some college football to discuss. There's a new national champion. Some basketball to talk about, man. There was some all-star selections. The starters were named. So, man, it's a lot to discuss, man. And without further ado, man, let's get to it. First game I want to talk about, man, let's talk about the Rams and the Bears. I certainly didn't foresee a defensive struggle in that game. I thought that would be a bit of a shootout, but still there's a lot to unpack in that game. Caleb Williams made one of the most spectacular football plays that I have ever seen.
My God.
From 26 yards behind the line of scrimmage, drifting backwards, he hit Cole Kmet in the back of the end zone on 4th down to keep the season alive. And then in overtime, he threw what would end up being the game-sealing interception, and from the pocket with zero pressure in his face. And that was so very Caleb Williams in a nutshell. Spectacular on the move, in my opinion, spectacular when he's improvising, but there's still a lot to learn from him. In my observation, from the pocket in the straight drop back situations where he's just scanning the field and he needs to make the right decision. With about 9 minutes of game action, that just tells you everything you need to know about him. But let me ask you the first question about the Bears. Are they the new class of the NFC North, or are they coming back to earth next season? Are they Mahomes and Andy Reid, or are they Burrow and Zach Taylor?
Oh,
What say the People's Champ?
Now, before you answer that, I want to give you their schedule for next year. Outside of the divisional games.
It's the first place schedule, but go ahead.
Outside of the divisional games, at home, they got Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, Jacksonville, the Jets, the Patriots, and the Saints. On the road, they have the Bills, the Dolphins, the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. They play in 13 one-score games this year. They went 8-5. So, history tells us that those one-score games tend to go the other way, particularly when you're playing a tougher schedule. So what do you see for this upcoming season? And then what do you portend for the future, just going forward in general for that coach quarterback combination?
Well, the immediate future, I think they're in good shape just for the simple fact that there's a lot of uncertainty in the NFC North currently, right now, as of today. I think Minnesota has some offensive issues that they need to address.
I agree.
I think they may have not found their answer at quarterback.
Right.
And if they believe they have, he needs to get a lot better.
Sure.
And then there's Green Bay. They did re-up on.
I saw that Matt LaFleur. Yep, I saw that.
So the brain, the front office brain trust has confidence in him. So you would assume that they're going to come back reloaded. They're always going to bring the talent's always going to be there.
Yep, I agree.
They're
a very well-run organization.
So it's just a matter, I think, of LaFleur being able to make those adjustments in those pressure situations in high-stake games.
Yep.
Then you have the Lions, which I'm sure we'll probably get to later at a later topic.
We absolutely will.
I mean, we can pick a side of the ball where, we have questions that need to be answered.
Absolutely.
So I think short term, they're fine. Long term, I don't know if I want to say that they're what was the
Mahomes and Andy Reid?
I don't know if they're
Zach
Mahomes
Taylor
and Andy Reid. Just for the simple fact that as a passer, Patrick Mahomes was just so much more advanced than Caleb Williams in terms of stepping back and being able to literally dictate a defense with his arm.
I tend to agree.
Yes. And I think with Ben Johnson, eventually he's going to want a quarterback that can put the ball exactly where he wants it to go on demand. And Caleb, for outstanding the plays that he makes, he hasn't shown the ability to consistently be able to just drop back, plant that back foot, and put the ball where it needs to be on the 5, 7, and 9s and things of the sort.
Yep.
So, and also you factor in the NFL, no league adjusts, especially defensively, like the NFL does.
Yeah, I wrote the same thing. So, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, once the film gets around,
so
they figure out exactly what to do.
So, that said, I think long term, I'm not going to say Reid, Mahomes, but short term, I think they'll definitely be in the mix.
So I kind of, while I agree with that, a lot of what you said, I actually think in the short term, regression to the mean is inevitable. Because again, nephew just kind of pointed out they'll be playing the first play schedule. And NFL teams understand what quarterbacks can and cannot do. And they get better at taking that away. Like NFL teams got good at keeping Lamar Jackson in the pocket. So they'll get good at keeping Caleb Williams in the pocket too. You know what I'm saying? Like they always find it. And that's why Lamar turned into a really good passer. Like they had to design the read option offense. And I think, perhaps Ben Johnson will adjust and design something like that for Caleb as well.
Yeah.
Because that's eventually what guys like that have to end up doing who are really good outside the pocket. They have to get that read option. They have to hold those linebackers and find those throws in that intermediate area. With less coverage back there, it's easier for them to read. But you tend to see that regression to the mean, like with CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels, because people tend to start, once the film gets around, they see exactly what you do. They see how you like to do it. And then they start taking stuff away. Of course, Jaden Daniels, he had a lot of injuries, but even when he was on the field, he wasn't quite as spectacular as he was his rookie year.
For sure.
And by the way, I think all of the second-year quarterbacks that are having all of this success, I think that there will be some regression to the mean for all of them. Drake May, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that all of they're having a lot of success now. But I think that NFL defenses, like you said, you put it perfect. They adjust extremely well. They figure out these quarterbacks very well. They figure out what makes you uncomfortable, and they start doing that a whole heck of a lot. And but with that being said, I believe in Ben Johnson. And I think that what Caleb struggles with, I think those are the things that you can teach a quarterback. I don't know how quickly he'll learn them. So I think they will regress to the mean. I don't expect them to win 12 games next year. I don't expect them to win the NFC North next year because it will get more difficult. Again, experience tells us that those one-score games start to go the other way, particularly when the schedule gets more difficult. Yeah. So I expect that they will, they'll still be in the mix. They'll be a tough team. I like the way that their roster is put together. I like that they went out and spent money in free agency. And we'll talk about that later because I did make an observation that told me exactly why the Lions are not playing in the tournament. And I'll get to that observation later. But there's a lot to like about the Chicago Bears, yeah. and I do think that ultimately the future is bright beyond next year. But next year, I think there'll be some regression to the mean. Beyond that, there'll be some development. Go ahead, nephew.
I know it's a foolish error to predict wins at this point of the year because we haven't even got to the offseason yet.
Yeah, the draft and all of that.
But looking at the schedule, and from my opinion, over under 9 wins next year for them.
Oh wow.
A push. I think they'll win 9. That's my prediction. But but like you said, it's hard. That's difficult because that we haven't seen the draft, we haven't seen the offseason, we haven't seen how the other teams will shake out. We haven't seen how the other teams in the division will improve. Who's gonna make a big splash? Hopefully the Lions get real busy in this offseason. And
right.
We're gonna get around to having a discussion about them. But I expect them to win around 9 games.
And I'm not saying because I'm looking at the schedule, I don't see them going 0-6 in the division. And I feel like there's 5 easy wins there. And then there's a couple 50-50. So I feel like 9 wins is like that barometer of where they could be or where they possibly might fall at the end of the year.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. But let's talk about the 49ers at the Seahawks because this is, and by the way, we both went 3-1 over the weekend.
Yeah.
The only one that we missed was the Texans and the Patriots. But let's talk about the 49ers at the Seahawks because there ain't a lot to talk about.
This ought to be quick.
There's very little to discuss here. Seahawks annihilated the 49ers 41-6 from the opening kickoff where Shaheed he took it back with 98 yards on the opening kickoff. It was really that was all the points they needed. Once they kicked the extra point, that 7 points would have done it. Sam Darnold only had 124 yards passing and a touchdown. He didn't really need to do much. 49ers really couldn't sustain anything. When you look at the raw statistics, time of possession was about the same. The yardage was about the same. The Seahawks defense is just so sound. K9 did have 19 rushes for 116 yards. Seahawks have won 7 games in a row now. Last time they lost was November 23rd, so before Thanksgiving. Even with the Charbonnet injury, man, is the Seahawks, are they the best team remaining? Or say the people's champ, man?
Man, it's hard to argue against it.
Yep.
It is really hard to argue against it. If they can continue offensively to just kind of, just keep Darnold clean and, he can just kind of turn around and hand the ball off. Like you say, Charbonnet's down, but you still got K9.
Yeah.
And, you still got JSN on the outside.
Yep.
And then, that defense. I didn't know the Legion of Boom 2.0 is back like this. This, you just kind of go back and look at some of their defensive statistics, and it's like, shoot. And then when you see it live, and they're reminiscent of the Boom because they're big, athletic,
yep,
and quick. They got a lot of guys, that look more like power forwards more so than defensive end. You know what I mean? Than edge rushers. And yeah, I would have to say out of the remaining teams left, if you're talking, all sides, both sides of the ball in all phases of the game, yeah.
So for me, they're definitely the best defense left, right? Certainly that. With all due respect to Denver and New England.
And you look at their special teams too.
Yeah. But a lot of these games, they're winning in spite of Sam Darnold.
Yeah, for sure. So he hasn't been asked to do much of anything.
A little concerning because so history tells us again that quarterback play is going to be needed in some of these high leverage situations.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen, Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson win Super Bowls, and but that was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you need a great quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Nick Foles would like a word.
Again, it does happen occasionally.
Well, I mean, you look at his numbers. Nick Foles looking like Joe Montana.
He cooked in that Super Bowl. But yeah, so you gonna need. But he gave him great quarterback play.
Yeah,
though.
For sure.
So like history tells us that at some point you're gonna need the quarterback to play great. You're going to need more than 124 yards at some point.
I agree.
But
I think Sam Darnold deserves more respect than that. I had to check today. He's been in the league for 8 years. The last 4 years, including the playoffs, he is actually 33-10.
Yeah, but
and I understand what you're saying about like his perceived skill level, but at this 33-10, and it's not. I know the last 2 years he's had Justin Jefferson and he had JSN, but it's not like in Carolina he had a wealth of options and he still went 4-2 that first year in Carolina.
Yeah, but we talking high leverage situations though. What I'm saying, like he has not performed in these high leverage situations. That is his track record. And I understand, yes, the regular season stuff, he's been good, and he's had.
That's including the playoffs too. He's only played them 2 playoff games.
Yeah, 2. That's what I'm saying. The 2 play and last year in the playoffs he was not good. Nor was he good in the last game of the season, which was basically like a playoff game, which was here at the Lions where he was bad. So and again, like I'm not trying to rag on Sam Darnold. I'm just saying that at some point they're going to need some high leverage quarterback play from him. I'm not telling you that he can't give it to you, but I'm just saying that, his track record for high leverage playoff performing is sparse. It doesn't mean that he's not capable. So, like I'm not here to rag on him, but it's just, he's going to have to demonstrate that. And he's going against a guy who is more proven in those playoff situations this coming Sunday. So, and we'll get back to that conversation when we talk about our predictions. But let's talk about the Texans and the Patriots because this was a sloppy game on both sides. It featured 8 turnovers. Much is being made of the 4 C.J. Stroud interceptions, but Drake May also turned the ball over 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
He fumbled it 4 times, but only 2 were lost. He threw an interception. C.J. Stroud threw a pick 6. He looked out of sync for the majority of the game. It ultimately cost his team a chance to advance to the AFC Championship game. So let's talk about C.J. Stroud's future a little bit. Is it secure with the Texans? And are the Patriots essentially Super Bowl bound, particularly, jumping ahead, looking at the Bo Nix ankle injury that he broke his ankle on the second to last play of the game. Pretty much everybody knows that now he's going to be out for the AFC Championship game, being replaced by Jarrett Stidham. Patriots getting those old breaks again, man. No pun intended. They Super Bowl bound. And what about C.J. Stroud, man? What about the contract extension? Would you give him one? Would you give him his walking papers? Would you give him a team-friendly deal? What say the people's champ, man?
I would give him an extension, but I would have some language in there.
It's like incentive-laden language.
Yeah, let's just say that 2023's price is not today's price for C.J. Stroud. I mean, he's still young. I still think he needs weapons, even in that game. I mean, to go into it without Nico, and then to lose
your left tackle, with Trent Brown,
and then he lost his tight end too.
Yep, yeah.
Man, goodness,
why am I drawing a blank on his name?
It'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid.
No, that's for the Bills.
I'm sorry.
Dalton Schultz.
Schultz.
Yep.
Schultz, Kincaid.
There's too many Daltons. Yeah.
Dalton Schultz. Yeah. So he loses Dalton Schultz early in that game. And then from that point on, to your point about Drake May's turnovers, it was like with CJ's, you could just kind of see he just lost more and more confidence.
Yeah,
with each turnover, to where it was just kind of like he was just dropping back and crossing his fingers when he was releasing the ball. And, so I think it's been proven that he's a student of the game and in his craft. So, I mean, I think he'll put in the work to get better, but I do think they need some help offensively, like you mentioned, some offensive line fortification wouldn't hurt.
Their offensive line is atrocious.
That wouldn't hurt at all. And again, another weapon to put opposite Nico wouldn't hurt as well. And maybe some health in the backfield. I mean, Tank Dell and Chubb, were kind of splitting time, but they both were kind of banged up.
You talking about the rookie from USC? What, man? Woody Marks.
Woody Marks. I'm sorry. Woody Marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Woody Marks and Chubb, they're kind of in and out with the little knick-knack stuff. So continuity, especially with a young quarterback, is big because he's still a young quarterback. What is CJ? 20?
Yeah.
23 or something
24,
like that?
Yeah,
23,
something like
24.
That. This year, 3, I think. So, yeah, he's young.
So yeah, I mean, 24. I would give him
24.
24. So yeah, I mean, I would give him an extension, but nothing crazy.
It would be team friendly.
Yeah, that guaranteed money. I wouldn't go stupid with that. But competent quarterbacks that have proven that they can win, are still kind of hard to come by in the NFL. So yeah.
Yep, I agree. I would give him a team friendly deal as well. It wouldn't be ridiculous. It would be something where we could fortify that offensive line and provide some more weapons, like spend some money in free agency and sort of build up, the offensive side of the ball, because they've done a great job on defense. But like you said, the offensive side of the ball has been a bit neglected. If I'm going to defend CJ a little bit, with that being said, he's got to play better.
Yeah,
can't throw 4 interceptions.
That was getting rough to watch, man. Like, because
can't put the ball on the ground like that. Same thing with Drake May, though. I mean, I would say the same, even though his offensive line is pretty sad too. You got to value the ball in these high leverage games. They both look like young QBs.
They did.
That just have to grow up. And there was a lot of young quarterbacks out there this weekend. In fairness, sure. But yeah, you have to value the ball in those situations, man. Like you cannot put the ball on the ground. You have to understand that there's going to be pressure coming from everywhere, particularly in these situations. They're going to be ripping and yanking at the ball. Like, you have to keep 2 hands on the ball. You have to step up. You got to be able to feel pressure. You got to know where it's coming from. So, yeah, like that, you got to do a little bit more pre-snap, a little bit more simulated, more dummy counts, more, So
I think it's just with a guy like May and even CJ to give him credit to. I think it's one of those things where they'll get to the point where
they got to grow up.
Down
yeah,
for them
absolutely.
again.
They got to grow up.
Probably going into the game, thinking they got a hold of this. Because I really thought that the Houston Texans were going to go on a Super Bowl run just off the defense.
Yeah, like listen, like even the way that you call the game, like I would call the game more conservatively too. In fairness to CJ, like we're not even dropping back like that. We're gonna run the ball a little bit. A lot of run action, a lot of play action, a lot of boot action. It's not going to be a lot of straight drop back, obvious passing situations.
Yeah.
I'm going to dump the ball off a lot, and it's not going to be a lot of long developing plays, particularly without my best deep threat there. What you got, nephew?
So y'all both said y'all are willing to give CJ a 10-friendly extension.
Mm-hmm.
How many more chances are you willing to give him in the big game before you chalk it up? Now, granted, Peyton Manning was in his 9th season when he finally got it together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But right now, CJ going back to college, every time he's in a big game, he hasn't got the job done.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go back to college, what did he throw? 4 touchdown passes against Georgia, though? Like, I mean, that was a shootout. Like, it wasn't because of CJ that they didn't win. Let's just put it that way. So he, you know, like I'm not just going to say that he has never shown up big in a big game, but you know, listen, he's young.
Yeah.
And this was a bad weather game. This was a situation where I don't, you know, like he lost his 2 best weapons. The offensive line did him no favors. And I don't think that the play calling was all that favorable either. Again, but to your point, I mean, you got to play better in these situations. So, yes, you know, like I don't think you give up on him at 24 years old, but in fact, yeah, but you got to be better. Like, you know, like when we sit down and have a conversation, you know, with the offensive coaching staff and CJ, like everybody's got to improve.
Yeah, because he had a bad playoff run.
Yes, period. He did. Yeah, he turned the ball over too much against Pittsburgh. I mean, like he's got to value the football. He's got to understand that you cannot turn the ball over. Typically, teams that lose the turnover battle in these playoff games lose the game.
Yeah.
Valuing the football is important if you want to advance in the playoffs in the NFL. Period. Point blank. That's the end of the conversation. We can't have you turning it over in the most important games. That's it. And that goes for any quarterback. You know, Jared Goff too. Jared Goff can't have you turning it over in the most important games. And he knows that. But let's get around to the last game of the weekend, man. And there's a lot to discuss with this game. That's why we saved it to the end. Broncos beat the Buffalo Bills in overtime thriller, 33-30. Speaking of the turnover battle. But I do want to give a shout out. Bo Nix was the best quarterback of the weekend, bar none. 26 of 49, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns against 1 interception. He also rushed for 29 yards. But, of course, unfortunately, he broke his ankle on the second to last play of the game. He's going to miss the remainder of the season. Jarrett Stidham stepping in for him. But the story of the game was Josh Allen turning the ball over 4 times, including 2 interceptions, 2 lost fumbles. Consequently, Sean McDermott, Bills head coach for the last 9 years, was terminated on Monday. Was the firing justified? And is Josh Allen to blame for both the loss and the firing? We'll say the people's champ.
Man, was the firing justified? Yes. Was Josh Allen responsible for both the loss and the firing? Yes.
So he got his coach fired.
Yeah.
I mean,
the sun, you know, rather than sets with him. I mean, it has to be the way that, you know, it's been collectively, the blame's been deflected off him to Sean McDermott. So, it makes perfect sense.
So I'm not going to say he got Sean McDermott fired.
I don't mean he called him and said he got to go, but you know.
So the last 6 playoff games, Sean McDermott's supposed to be a defensive head coach. They've given up an average of 33 points.
Yeah, the numbers are bad.
You know, listen, being a NFL head coach is difficult, but philosophically it's simple. How's your side of the football? If you're a defensive head coach, do we get timely stops? The Buffalo Bills simply never do.
No.
They don't get any timely stops. I'm like, listen, let's put aside the fact that Josh Allen turned the ball over 4 times, which is inexcusable, because we talked about it. I've heard way too many times that this dude is the best football player ever and the most talented football player in the NFL. I've heard that way too much for 4 turnovers, and a couple of them were absolutely ridiculous. The one at the end of the half was absolutely absurd.
It was unbelievable.
That was absurd.
That's what you call a fan duel.
Yeah. And that decided the game because the Broncos came out and got a field goal.
Yep.
That was absolutely ridiculous for somebody that's been in the league that long, a player of his caliber. But again, with that being said, I mean, giving up 33 points when you are a defensive head coach, you can never get a timely stop.
Nope. And this is historically, like whenever they've needed it.
Now, on the other hand, the promoting of Brandon Beam, very Cleveland Brown-like for the Buffalo Bills. Since they've acquired Josh Allen, Brandon Beam has drafted 56 players. 2 of them have made a Pro Bowl.
Oh.
Now, unless this is something like, there's an episode of Seinfeld where there's this guy in the mailroom. He's a really bad employee, right? And Elaine calls him up to the office to fire him, but he's like a really scary dude. He got this big knife on his hip, and it's just those 2 in there. So she kind of gets afraid, and instead of firing him, she promotes him. So there's a way to get somebody to stop doing a job that you don't want them to do. You can either fire him or you can promote him. So maybe this is that. Maybe they just like, we just going to put you over the whole football operation to get you to stop picking players, because that's the only thing that makes sense.
The real news here is, you watch Seinfeld?
Oh, yeah, I love Seinfeld.
Oh, wow. No.
Seinfeld is great.
Yeah, Seinfeld is great.
I mean, I've seen a few episodes, but never like a season.
Yeah, I binge watch it often.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's like, I put it on for background noise. But
gotcha.
But that, to me, is the only reasonable explanation. This dude is not a good player personnel guy. He's been terrible. And for him to be promoted at the same time that you fire Sean McDermott is absolutely absurd.
They both came in at the same time.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, he should be gone as well. So that's the only thing.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
So you don't see this being a Philly situation?
Meaning what?
In the terms of how he was there with Andy Reid. They eventually, Andy and the Eagles parted ways, but Howie was still there.
No, because Howie Roseman is outstanding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, Brandon Beam is not outstanding. he's below average. Again, 56 players, 2 of them have made a Pro. Everybody makes the Pro Bowl now. It ain't, it's not hard to make a Pro Bowl. I mean, I'm not saying all pro. I'm saying made a Pro Bowl.
Could have gave Jalen Waddle a call at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean,
because Keon Coleman ain't it, bro.
So, and let me circle this back to the Lions, man, because I do want to transition into discussing the Lions. Because watching these games this weekend, I became absolutely certain of the reason that the Lions are not in this. And the reason is that we got nothing out of our drafts in 2024 and 2025.
Remember I thought you had nothing burger.
And you look at the number of first and second year players that are not only contributing, but starring for all of the teams that remain, particularly in the divisional round. AJ Barner and Byron Murphy for the Seattle Seahawks are both second year players.
Yep.
The Rams got a ton of first and second year players that are they didn't miss in 2024-20. Jared Verse is their best edge rusher. He's the 2024 draft.
Mm-hmm. But look at us at 21 and 22, and then 23, boom.
Yeah.
We've shown that we could do it.
Yep.
But to your point, when we miss, ooh, buddy, we miss bad. But
Mumfield, the receiver, he's a rookie. Blake Corum, second year. Jordan Whittington, that's the 2024 draft again. He the big kick return, and he the receiver. He had a couple of catches. Braden Fisk, the starting defensive tackle for the Rams, second year player. Cameron Kinchins, the starting safety, that's 2024. The Bears, Monungai, Loveland, and Luther Burden, they all rookies. Oh. I mean, look at the Patriots, Travion Henderson, Craig Woodson, the starting safety, Will Campbell, the starting left tackle, they all rookies. Yeah. And the Patriots spent $350 million in free agency. They outspent everybody. They went and got Milton Williams. They went and got Harold Landry. They went and got Carlton Davis from us.
Yep.
The Broncos starting running back R.J.
Balled
Harvey.
out Sunday, by the way, too.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
He balled out.
You talking about Woodson?
Carlton Davis.
Yeah.
He balled out.
He had
Sunday.
2 picks. The Broncos starting running back R.J. Harvey is a rookie. They receiver, even though he went out hurt, Troy Franklin, he had 65 receptions this year. He a second-year player. And that's not to mention Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Bo Nix, all second-year players.
Yep.
The reason the Lions ain't in the tournament is because we got nothing out of the 2024 and 2025. Like, how many of our guys were starring and making a big impact? Some of them was on the field. Like, Kyleik Williams was on the field, but he wasn't really making a big impact.
Yep.
Tyrion Arnold, he was on the field making an impact, but not in a good way.
All right.
He was out there, but you look at all of these guys. Now, contrast that with us going to the NFC Championship game in 2023. We had a ton of rookies and second-year players making an impact. Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph,
Sam Laporta,
Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta. Ton of them. Malcolm Rodriguez, Jack Campbell. We had a bunch of rookies. That's why we was in the NFC Championship
Panay
game.
Sewell.
Yep. We had a bunch of young guys that was out there making an impact.
Yep.
We got nothing the last 2 years, so we sitting home. You cannot miss on these drafts. And this is what people was talking. And when people talking about let Brad cook and we was complaining, this is what we were talking about. Those teams didn't miss in these last 2 drafts, and we did. They still playing, and we not. It's really that simple. The NFL, I got people telling me it's going to be 2-3 years before you know if you got something out of the 2024 and 2025 draft. No, it's not.
Nah, we've seen enough.
Yeah, we already know. These teams they got these kids on the field. They already balling out. Jerry versus the 2024 draft. He balling. He the best edge rusher for the Rams. Braden Fisk was the very next pick. He the starting defense. He their best defensive tackle. They balling. They balling right now. You don't have to wait to figure it out. If you wait in 2 and 3 years, you already know you need to redraft that position. It's over.
Yep.
The NFL is not like the NBA. Ain't no 2 and 3 years of waiting for development. If that kid is not, because they have to stay so long in college. They got to stay 3 years in college.
Well, hell, because year 3, you got to pay them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, by year 3, the rookie contract is coming to an end. You got to make a decision about them. Nobody is waiting 2 and 3 years. By then, you know whether or not you have a player or not. So that just struck me when I was watching. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why we missed on everybody. But at any rate, man, Championship Sunday. We got the Pats going up to the Broncos. We got the Rams going over to Seattle. What say the people's champ, man? Rams at Seattle, man. Who you got and why?
This one's tough for me. I think this is.
It is.
Because Sam Darnold's worst 2 games this season.
Yep.
Absolute. I think he's got like 6 picks total against the Rams.
Something like
this
that.
year.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, he's had a rough time.
Yeah, he's awful against the Rams. So damn, does that Sam Darnold show up? And even if he does, the defense can still kind of.
Yeah, they defense
can still
awesome.
kind of buffer him out a little bit. And then there's Stafford. What I'm struggling with is the points.
Right.
Like, I wonder, is it like the first team to 20?
Right.
Or, first team to like 23?
Sam Darnold in both games this year averaged 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the wild card in this game is the Rams defense.
Yeah.
Which Rams defense is going to show up? If the Rams defense plays well, then I like the Rams.
Yeah.
Because to me, then it becomes a quarterback battle, and I trust Stafford more.
Oh, yeah, without question. Yeah, for sure.
But that Seattle defense is is scary.
Yeah, I'm leaning. I think I'm going to go with the Seahawks just simply because what they did to San Francisco is just because I respect Kyle Shanahan and his preparation.
Yeah,
and to beat a Kyle Shanahan coached team like that in a playoff game,
yeah,
that was kind of a statement beating to me.
That was a big statement. But you know what? I'm leaning toward the Rams just because
they got the MVP.
And I think that Stafford and McVay are going to, I think they're going to be ready. I think they're going to be ready. And I think that they feel comfortable against this defense. I think the Rams are reasonably healthy. And, you know, I like them in this spot because of the experience. You know, they've been together.
Yeah.
But that Seattle defense, man, it's a wild. The game going either way it definitely wouldn't surprise me if Seattle won.
I mean, if Sam Darnold can just not lay the ball on the ground 3 to 4 times.
Yeah, even that though, I think in a possession game, I think that if the Rams take care of the ball and it's a possession game,
control the clock.
Yeah, I think that the Rams, because of the experience, I would give them the slight edge, but. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if it went either way.
Man. The difference in point margin so far between the two games is literally a point in favor of the Rams.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, both games were close. No, they I think they evenly matched. I expect it to be a great game, even no matter who wins. Yeah. By the way, and then we got New England going to the Broncos. Man, you got Stidham, pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Sean Payton accepting the challenge.
Here's the thing. Big as a jerk as he can be at times, Sean Payton can coach some football.
Oh, man. Ain't no doubt about it.
And Bo Nix, like you say, he was the best quarterback of the weekend. And I think a lot of Bo Nix's success has a lot to do with Sean Payton. And you want to talk about a defense.
Yeah, the Broncos.
That Broncos defense is pretty damn legit as well.
And the Patriots offensive line is not good.
Yeah, their run game is pretty much like non-existent.
Yeah, and they don't pass. But I mean, they left tackle is a rookie, so I mean, and he gonna have to block one of the best edge rushers in football, in Benito.
So that said, I'm going to go a little crazy, man. I'm rolling with Jarrett Stidham.
Okay, you going to go with the Broncos I'm going
to roll with the Broncos. Yep.
Listen, man.
I think Sean Payton could dial up. All Jarrett Stidham has to do is be an NFL quarterback and just not blunder it.
Man, I so hope.
He'll have good field position, I presume.
I so hope that you're right, man. But I'm just starting to feel those Patriot vibes again, man.
No.
I remember.
Oh, don't do it.
I'm going to give you a quick anecdote, man. I remember the Patriots played the Bills, man. This was like 2000. They played the Bills. It was like the last game of the year. They needed this game to
win. The Drew Bledsoe years?
No, this was Tom Brady.
It was Brady? Okay.
They needed this game, though, I think, to win the division. I believe it was to win the division. They played Buffalo. It was a 9-9 game that went into overtime.
Oh, yeah.
David Patton caught a out route on the sideline. He caught it. The defensive back absolutely blasted him, blew him up. He fumbled the ball. I'm talking about he hit him so hard, he knocked him out cold.
Mm-hmm.
He fumbled the ball. His helmet went out of bounds. The ball was sitting on his foot. They said that the ball was out of bounds, and Buffalo recovered the fumble. But they said because the ball was on his foot and his head was out of bounds, he was knocked out cold. But they said that the ball was out of bounds because it was on his head was out of bounds and the ball was on his foot. I've never seen that play That was 25 years ago. Never seen anything like that since.
Probably won't.
That's one of them New England plays. That's like the tuck rule that happened the year after.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before. And then, of course, they changed the rule after that. But I'm getting them New England vibe, man. You know, Bo Nix breaking his ankle on the second to last play of the game gave me every indication that I needed that we going to have to suffer New England in the playoffs again.
So you got for the Super Bowl, throwback to 2002?
I got Rams and Patriots, man.
There it is.
But listen, man, I hope the people's champ is right and we get to see Seattle in the Browns. I'm not rooting for the Rams in the.
Let's go, Jared Stidham.
I'm hoping Jared Stidham,
prove him wrong,
is able to get him over the hump, man. Man, let's move on, man. I like this question Nephew put in the chat, man, before we move on from the NFL.
Okay.
What you think about Kyle Shanahan, man? Do you think he should be on the hot seat? Because I don't. I mean, I think he did. He might be the coach of the year.
Yeah, I think Kyle Shanahan should be a finalist for coach of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
What he had to endure, 4 or 5 games with Mac Jones at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they had all kinds of injuries. Lost a number 1 edge rusher, number 1 middle linebacker, and they still, made it to the divisional round. I thought he did a great job.
I mean, I think considering the injuries not only the injuries, but the positions where they were injured.
Yeah.
In terms of importance to what they do as a team. And then you factor in the division in which they play in.
Not to mention Brandon Ayuk just went.
Because they were, up until the last week of the season, weren't they not playing for the number 1 seed?
They were. They were playing. They were playing for the division against.
I don't think he should be on the hot seat.
Yeah, me either. But it's an intriguing question though, because he's been at it for a long time.
Because you would think he'd have had one by now.
Yeah, he's been a little stuck in the mud. It's something to consider, but
not like Andy Reid before he got over the hump.
Yeah, yep. But let's talk about the national championship game. It actually ended up being a great game.
Great game.
Indiana won 27-21. I thought that it kind of looked the way that I thought it would look to a certain extent. Indiana played clean, very good fundamental football team, and you was going to have to beat them in a possession game. Now, to Miami's credit, they did the big kid, was it Fletcher, I think, the running back. He did beat him on the outside zone. That's the first time all year I saw the outside linebacker failed to come down and set the edge, and he beat him to the outside and got a long touchdown run off of it. So shout out to them. The Miami made some great plays. But it's hard to beat a team that they don't turn the ball over, no fumbles, no interceptions. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just play a great possession game, man. But what did the people's champs see in the national championship game?
Miami's punt team is going to beat themselves up for the rest of their lives.
Well, yeah, you're talking about that block punt. Yeah.
Yeah, that changed the game.
Yeah, that did.
That definitely changed.
That was the difference.
Yeah.
That don't happen. That Miami wins.
Well, and that interception at the end.
Well, that's
that was more. I think that's more so. You have to take a shot. Like, you have to score a touchdown. But
he had time.
They lost by 4.
They lost by 6.
4 6.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, 27-21. But but that's the thing. Like, Indiana's not giving you any of those plays. Like, they're going to get some of those plays on you. You're not going to get none of them plays on them. That's what they've been doing. Like, even the teams that play them even, they tend to get something on you that you can't get on them because they play so clean and fundamentally sound. That's what I was saying. Like, a team that's fundamentally sound and doesn't make mistakes, like, you got to get some gettables on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't show you anything on film where you can exploit them.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so good. But go ahead, man. I ain't mean to.
No, you're all good, brother. Yeah. I mean, I knew that Cristobal would have the guys ready, especially in the trenches. He's a trench guy. So, physically, I figured they would be okay with that type of game, and Indiana would definitely be okay with that type of game. So that was fine. I mean, honestly, for me, I thought the game would be close, but it would come down to
Carson Beck.
Honestly, you can ask people that I was watching.
You said it last week.
You said it.
I said it was going to be Carson Beck.
And I'm not saying that the loss solely, but I knew eventually a bad critical play he would be attached to that would affect the outcome. It is unfortunate because up until that point, he played well. He was playing solid. You know what I mean? And I was like, dang, that would be cool if he came down and won this. But I think with Indiana, it's just kind of messed up that we live in a world now where we're just kind of desensitized to just like actual good stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what they pulled off is really, really, really ridiculous when you think about it in the grand scheme of things.
So where do you think they rank among all-time teams? Because that's really been the conversation all week.
Well, I think that's where the mental gymnastics kind of come in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what they done really was awesome, but it's like, okay, let's not say that these guys are like the 01 Hurricanes.
No, or the 2019 LSU.
Or the 2019
that had
LSU.
Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow
Jefferson.
Literally could have threw 10 touchdowns in the national championship game. Like literally that could have been a thing.
Yeah.
So I think the story is bigger than the actual.
Listen, I think they're one of the great national championship teams.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of the structure and how many games you got to win and all that good stuff. But I agree. I don't think that you're going to see 10 NFL players off this team or anything like that. I think they're great for the same reasons. And I'm not comparing them, but I'm just saying for the same reasons that Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver of all time. Not because he overwhelms you with physical ability, but because he's fundamentally sound. Like Jerry Rice, like if you want to go look up the greatest route runner, Jerry Rice, he was the best route runner to ever do it. He could set you up. Like he could beat you on a 9 route, not because he had the most devastating speed, but because he knew how to set you up to beat you on a deep route. He didn't win every slant route because he was the fastest or the twitchiest off the line. He just knew how to set his man up to turn him around, get him going one way, and he went the other way.
Yeah,
like he was the greatest route runner off the line of scrimmage. That's why he's the greatest receiver. It wasn't because he ran a blazing 4.2 or anything like that. He just was so good technically and fundamentally off the line of scrimmage that he could beat guys that were better athletes. He just was just so fundamentally good. And that's how I view Indiana. Indiana is so fundamentally sound and technically good. I don't think they turned the ball over since November. Like literally. They didn't get a ball away since November. I would have to look it up, but it's been a long time. Like they don't give you anything.
No, they're polished. They're like a throwback. They're like a throwback Alabama. Like a throwback Penn State.
Don't give you anything. Yeah. And those teams are hard to beat because usually if you can physically overwhelm a team, you can get them to make mistakes. Like we saw that all through the NFL this past weekend. Usually if you can physically overwhelm a team, you can get them to do things out of character and start putting the ball on the ground. Indiana just would not give you, they would not put the ball on the ground. And they got smacked. I mean, like they got hit. Like you saw the one hit where he handed it off my man stuck his helmet under Mendoza's chin. Like that, but they don't give you, he don't put the ball in, he throws lasers. He don't put the ball in harm's way. To me, that's the biggest thing that makes him an NFL prospect. It's not because he got a cannon for an arm. It's the accuracy.
Yep, and decisiveness.
Yep, he throws lasers. He don't put the ball in harm's way. And if you look at these young quarterbacks this weekend, to me, that's his best attribute. The best attribute that Mendoza got is Mendoza don't put the ball in harm's way. He throws lasers. He puts the ball right on the receiver every single time. Like even the incompletions he had, like the one to Surratt, Surratt dropped the ball. He was fighting with the ball as opposed to the ball not being where it was supposed to be. The ball was absolutely where it was supposed to be, and the receiver was fighting it all. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that's the attribute that makes him, in my opinion, a great NFL prospect. He can move. He's slick, but he gonna have some other things to learn. But the accuracy is what I like the most. But I'll let you have the final word on it, man, before we move on to a little NBA conversation.
Well, no, I think for me, I'm interested to see how Indiana moves forward.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Go ahead now.
So what does their win means for the future of college football? Because I think that's another talking point that's been talked about a lot this week. Because, historically, Indiana, let's be real, Indiana was not a great program.
Sure.
But 2 years, first off, it's simple. I win, Google me is probably a top 5 all-time quote.
Oh, absolutely.
But
yeah. What are you, 26-2 since he said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what does this mean for the future of college football? Because I think a lot of people are seeing Indiana's win right now and just be like, oh, well, anybody can do it. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think this is a situation that was lightning in the bottle. Not to say that it's just going to end now. Mm-hmm. I think their situation is unique to them in like a Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily see a Kentucky or a Arizona State or a Mississippi State. I don't like people just assume that I think it means more for the Blue Bloods in that, if we're not winning by year 2, then we might need to make a change. But I wouldn't expect just any team to just start popping off and just becoming relevant at this point.
Well, first of all, I agree. And then I'll pass it over to the People's Champ. But yeah, I mean, first of all, that's disrespectful to Indiana. No, not anybody can just do what they did. There was more to it than, first of all, Cignetti is a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
Because to get a group of young men, and I understand that they had a lot of seasoned college football players, and that's that's a nice way to put it. They had a lot of guys that were a lot of 5th and 6th year seniors, but to get a lot of young guys to play disciplined football is hard.
Yep.
That's hard in college football. And they did. I mean, again, guys not getting out of position, guys listening, guys not committing a lot of penalties. To me, that's more difficult than actually drawing up explosives, like being a great play caller or recruiting a lot of 5-stars. To me, getting a lot of young guys to commit to playing disciplined football is the more complicated task. So if you are looking at the Indiana program, I suggest that you examine the way that they do business in terms of how do you get everybody to buy in to being a disciplined program, being a program that is low penalty, being a program that is low turnover, being a program that's where guys are never out of position on the back end, where there's communication on the defense, communication on the offensive line, where the running backs run hard, 2 running backs that run the same exact way. You know what I'm saying? Like receivers run the routes the right way. Like that to me is bigger than just, can we get enough guys or can we rebuild the program in a year? Because what you see with a lot of these college football programs is sloppy football, man. But I'll turn it over to the People's Champ.
Well, no, I mean, a lot of the points that you made were a lot of the questions that I have that I think when you look at Indiana, I think going forward is what I'll be having, my eye on. I wonder now that the spotlight's on it. Mm-hmm. He's not going to, ain't going to be too many more years with just 8 4-star recruits.
Right. Yeah.
Them days is over.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier with Fat Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday's price is not today's price when
That's
you're
right.
talking about Indiana. So I wonder how it'll look going forward after this year. Like, was this year really a culture changer that stays and permeates the football program going forward? Or, like you say, did he catch lightning in the bottle?
Yeah.
Was it that thing? Because now you're gonna have your pick of the litter pretty much.
Yep.
And like to your point again, like those 4- and 5-star guys, they come with bigger egos. They come with a little bit more attached with them. Where you got to cut through to actually get to the football part of it. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Cignani's up for the task.
I agree.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it looks going forward now, because they're not sneaking up on anybody anymore going forward.
No.
So.
Nope. Man, let's shift gears. You know what? Before we get to the NBA stuff and the All-Star starters, the Lions hired a new OC, Drew Petzing.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, man, on the hire?
Not much really, because I don't know much about the guy. I had to Google him.
Yeah. The Arizona Cardinals OC.
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals OC. From what I found out, we watch sports, so
yeah.
The Cardinals were kind of depleted in terms of Kyler Murray being gone, James Conner being gone.
Yep. Yeah,
Marvin Harrison
in
and out, and when he was in, he wasn't really looking like Marvin Harrison.
He hasn't lived up to his billing.
And
let's just say.
With Jacoby Brissett at one point in the season, they were a top 5 offense. So he must have some, offensive acumen. What I will say, and I will just err on the football expertise of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff. Jared Goff says he likes him, says he's a smart guy. I'm just going to have to leave it at that. And it is Jared Goff, because that's the most important guy. If Jared Goff likes him, if Jared Goff thinks he's a smart guy and is comfortable collaborating with him, then I guess we'll have to wait and see. I, of course, said when the topic first became, who would be available, I like Mike McDaniel, but they said he wasn't a good fit. So there's that.
Well, before you go, I just want to state that the Cardinals for the past 2 years have been second in the league in yards per carry.
Yeah, right. In the running game. I really, I'm not up in arms about the hire like some people. My only sticking point with the hire is why is the timing.
Okay.
I guess that's what I'll say. Why not wait for everybody to be available?
Okay.
Nathan Shieldhouse, who is the pass game coordinator for the Rams, is not even available to interview yet. Joe Brady, who is the OC for the Bills, just became available Monday because of Sean McDermott's firing. Why not take an opportunity to interview him?
Yeah.
Over the past 6 years, the Buffalo Bills have a 902 point differential. Nobody else is over 800.
Right.
So, he's obviously a very competent OC. And, I'm not saying don't hire Drew Petzing if that's the guy. I'm just saying let's turn over every stone.
Right. I get
Let's interview everybody we can. And if Drew Petzing is the guy, hire him at the end of February. Because let's be real. Drew Petzing, he wasn't going nowhere.
Right.
Nobody, maybe I'm wrong. And if I am, then somebody can correct me. But I don't think anybody was going to swoop in and steal Drew Petzing from us. Now, perhaps they were.
Well, I think he was interviewing for some other jobs, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know how long the Lions had their eye on him.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he was a name because I guess he has a close relationship with Ben Johnson. So maybe he's been around the organization, or his name at least has been around the organization for some time.
So. Yeah, I'm not trying to knock the guy. I'm not. I feel like in the past we've been a little hasty in hiring people. And I'm just like, let's turn over every stone. Let's see. Let's get every candidate that we possibly can. Let's interview them. Let's talk to them. Let's give them every opportunity. And again, and if Drew Petzing is the guy, you can even tell them that, listen, you the lead man in the clubhouse, but we want to turn over every stone. We want to make sure that we do our due diligence. And I think that most times, man, people would understand that. But that's my only sticking point. I don't really have a problem with the guy, like you said. I mean, if I'm sure that he'll do fine because, in my opinion, offensive coordinators are mostly talent dependent anyway. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like we talked about that before. Like I feel like, you're dependent upon what the talent is anyway. So
for sure.
I will say this. I think a sneaky underlying thing to watch for is if the offense doesn't look improved next year. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, Washington's looks improved. Mm-hmm. I think we need to there really needs to be a serious conversation because David Blah, David Blah was promoted by Washington to be that OC, and it's like, I get it. I get why you wouldn't go that route, but if he shows that he could have been a reasonable option, you basically pass on somebody who was in the room when we had our best season.
Well, and I'll expound on that a little bit more, man, before we switch topics. To me, next year is a very important year for this regime and this core group of players. That's why I'm like, let's not be hasty. Let's take our time. Let's interview everybody. Let's talk to everybody. Let's see exactly who's out there. You might, be surprised and be overwhelmed by somebody who, maybe you think Petzing is the guy, but you interview Shieldhouse and he blows your socks off and you like, man, let's get this guy. Let's at least get him in the room. You know what I'm saying? So I agree, nephew. I'm like, listen, I'm looking around and I'm like, look, we need to do our due diligence because I think that next year, listen, I'm here for all of the energy that's going on in the NFL right now. I love that 10 coaches got fired. I'm here for it. I'm here for blowing people right out of there because the future is now. I love not fooling around with it. I make the joke, man, all the time that Bob Kraft is who Jerry Jones thinks he is. Bob Kraft know how to do it. He know how to build a winner. He ain't fooling around with Gerard Mayo year in and year out if we ain't getting the results that we want. And he'll spend $350 million in free agency if they missed on everybody in 2024. He know they missed in 2024. So he blew everybody out. He promoted Eugene Wolf and he spent $350 million in free agency to fill them holes. And they didn't miss in 2025. And that's how you do it. I'm here for that energy, man. Like, listen, the time is now. Get it right or get moving.
Right.
So, at any rate, man, we got to talk about your favorite player in the NBA, man. We got to talk about, first of all, shout out to Cade Cunningham. He was named an all-star starter.
Yes,
and we'll talk about which Pistons should join him momentarily.
Okay, that's easy.
We got to talk about LeBron James, man.
We have to.
We got to, man. Come on, man.
Right.
That's your favorite player in the NBA right now because he was not named the starter, man. Let me ask you, man, should someone give up their spot for the king, man? They're starting to. What's so funny, man?
Man, no.
Should somebody give deference to the king?
For what? Because he didn't make the All-Star game?
Well, no, he's gonna make it, but he wasn't a starter.
No, what
well, you know how Vince Carter gave up his spot for Jordan.
Wait.
I'm asking, man. I'm asking the people's champ. I gotta ask the people's champ, man.
That's because it was Michael Jordan's last All-Star game, allegedly, and also it was also Michael Jordan.
This is LeBron, man. This is King. Right. This is LeBron King James.
Right, and
man.
He can be a reserve. He reserves the right to be an all-star reserve because of his kingship. Like, this is so ridiculous. Like, people are like, and they were like, well, what about the time they made an exception for Magic Johnson? I'm like, dude, do you know we thought Magic Johnson was going to be dead in 1993 when they let him play in the All-Star game?
Right, yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? Like, seriously, this was back when you was diagnosed with that virus.
Yes.
The life expectancy was like a year at best.
Yeah, for real.
So, like, when we thought that Magic Johnson was doing all that against Isaiah and Jordan in that All-Star game, the dream team was a dream for real. Like, seriously, like, people wasn't around for that. Like, we were. Like, that was serious business. So,
real talk.
Those circumstances are not the same. Like, no. This, like, the codification of his ego, see Genie Bus, has obviously been out of control. But it's like, dude, he'll be a reserve. He'll be okay. Like, no.
Did Ant-Man get snubbed as a starter?
I think because it came down to a fan vote between him and Wemby.
Well, the starter vote is 50% fans, 25% media, 25% players.
Right.
But the tiebreaker wasn't it was between him and Wemby, right? That was the that was the two people it was between for that final starting spot.
I'm not sure who the last one in, first one out type situation was.
I believe it was Wemby.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was Wemby.
That's possible.
So if that's the case, I think it was talked about when they announced it on NBC or Peacock, whatever. So if it came down between him and Wemby, then I would say no, because Wemby's team is number 2 in the West.
Yeah.
And they're kind of cooking ahead of schedule.
Steph Curry is a starter, right?
Right.
Yes.
He playing better than Steph right now. That's the one where I would think, if I'm being objective, he should probably be in over Steph.
Right.
But I understand it don't work like that. And Steph is, obviously historically more popular than Ant-Man. But if we just talking about who's playing better, he's playing better than Steph Curry right now, objectively. But
I mean, Ant has been balling. I mean, the Warriors have just been bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but,
Like
what is Steph doing this year? What, 27? And what is he still shooting about 41 from 3 or something like that?
I mean, he's still playing well, but
I think Ant-Man is about 20?
Yeah, yep.
27, 5, and 3.
Yep. And he's shooting 47% from the field, 39% from 3, basically.
That's typical Steph All-Star numbers.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He's definitely.
He could be a reserve. And then what's Ant-Man doing about 26, 28, somewhere in there?
Yeah, 30, 29-9.
29-9.
Yeah, 50% from the field, 41% from 3. So yeah, like I said, objectively, I feel like Ant-Man playing better than Steph. So like if it's really a sticking point, I think it's between those two. But,
okay, yeah. Well, if it's coming down to guard play,
but I'm not up in arms. I'm like, it is what it is. It's Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying?
But those lineups are kind of funky though. I hate this whole, that it's positionless now.
Yeah. See, at the end of the day, they both gonna end up being starters because the format's already gonna be 3 teams of 8 and 2 USA teams and 1 world team.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, aren't they going to change the format?
Oh, so they just vote? They just basically just saying who got the most.
I mean,
votes?
the only thing the vote matters is who's actually gonna be in the game. They're gonna have to split it up,
right? And then Joker's not gonna play anyway, I presume, because he's got an ACL injury.
Will he be back?
Who? Jokic?
I mean, I know he wasn't out for the year, but I know
I think he might be back.
I didn't see how long.
Yeah, I don't think he is out for the season.
No. I know he wasn't out for the season.
Right. Yeah, like if he's pushing it for, I would think.
But I mean, the All-Star game is in what, 4 weeks?
Yeah, I would think that out of an abundance of caution, he would probably sit it out.
Yeah, because I don't know the severity of that ACL injury, but him being a bigger guy,
I would think out of an abundance of caution.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like he jumping all over the place, but you're right. Yeah, like I would think out of an abundance of caution, he would probably sit that out.
That's probably a starting spot for him. But yeah, I just don't like how it's like 4 guards and 4 that wants to be a guard, and those are your starters. Like, that's kind of.
Well, they had to do that because people was trying to get freaking Zaza Pachulia in the All-Star game.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
you had the K-pop, Andrew Wiggins run and all of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Did you see Bronny got a number of votes? I'm like, man, I hate people.
We know where them 2 votes came from.
Savannah and LeBron.
Real quick, man, before we wrap up, let's
you said
who should join K?
Who should join K? JD.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a simple one. But let's talk about before we leave, and we can close on this, because let's talk about these NFL coaching hires, because there were 3 positions filled, and we didn't really talk about them. Harbaugh to the Giants, Stefanski to the Falcons, and Robert Saleh got hired by the Titans. How you feeling about any or all of those, man? Who got the best coach, and who got the best job out of those 3?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I believe it or not, I think Robert Saleh may have the best job.
Oh, wow. Now that's an interesting one.
Because I think he may have the longer runway. And another reason is because I believe he has 2 linchpins on both sides of the ball. Well, 1 and 1, with his quarterback and his D tackle that he can build around.
Yeah, I mean, Simmons is a beast.
So I and him being a defensive guy, I'm pretty sure he's kind of chomping at the bit to see what he can build around Mr. Simmons. And
the only reason I don't like that is because I would love for the Lions to pry Simmons away from the Titans.
Right.
I'm like, I hated to see them hire a defensive. I was so hoping that they hired an offensive coach.
So
I would love to see Brad Holmes call the Titans and pry Simmons away. Like, man, just go for the complete rebuild, man. But go ahead, bro.
So I think he'll have more runway to build in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And you couple that with on the other side of the ball with Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I think, if he can get him an offensive-minded guy
that
can develop
get him
Cam
a great
Ward
and coordinator.
Of course, get him some weapons as well.
Got to.
And some protection wouldn't hurt as well. And I think maybe having that Mulligan go-round with the Jets.
Yeah.
And, getting back on the map, per se, with Kyle Shanahan out in San Francisco. I think that's probably the best job for the simple fact that there's a pressure that comes with New York.
Yeah.
That's
true.
That New York pressure cooker is kind of different. And with Harbaugh, I mean, he's still a young guy, but I mean, he's got some years behind him coaching.
Yeah.
And, he may get to a point where this ain't worth it. You get what I'm saying? And especially if the players don't develop at a rate that, produces winning. Because he's going to, the first thing I thought when they hired him, I laughed because I said, man, if this pans out, this ain't going to be good for Jerry at all. But, he's going into a highly competitive division as well. So
I thought it was interesting that he made them redo the organizational chart where he reports directly to ownership. He doesn't report to Joe Shane, the GM.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. So he kind of made him powerless.
Yeah. So he just kind of just like leapfrogged him and said, I'm going to do what I want to do if the owners give me the okay, which basically means I'm going to tell the owners I'm going to do what I want to do. Just get their okay before he does it. So, I mean, with that, you have to bank on the fact that Jackson Dart develops. Cam Scatterboo comes back healthy. Malik Neighbors comes back healthy.
Right.
And, then getting chemistry. The defense is solid, but can you elevate it? Can you get them to play consistent?
They got some pieces, but they need some back end.
Their defenses, they get penalized a lot.
Yeah. So. He got to clean that up. And really, Baltimore was kind of penalized a lot. He didn't really help that. So,
that's true. So that's why I would say that the Tennessee is a better opportunity, because I think Salah will just get more cracks at it.
Yeah, more time.
Potentially. And then with Atlanta, I mean, I'm just not a big Kevin Stefanski guy. And, go Baker Mayfield. I hope you thump him twice a year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I didn't care for,
But he's got some talent down there.
I mean,
so we'll see. So Kevin Stefanski, here it is now.
Yeah.
So you got a much more fuller cupboard down in Atlanta than you had in Cleveland. So, this is a put up or shut up season for him.
I think that John Harbaugh got the better team because they got Andrew Thomas, the left tackle. I think they got a good young quarterback. I think they got a real number one receiver. I think they got a good young running back. Abdul Carter is a good young edge rusher. They got Dexter Lawrence, a dominant defensive tackle. I think he got the better team, but I think Stefanski got the better situation.
Okay.
Because the NFC South is up for grabs.
That's legit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they going to probably be the third best team in the NFC East, maybe the fourth, depending on if Dallas can, right the ship. So, like you said, the NFC East is just a beast of a division. So, with a young quarterback and, like you said, all of those question marks, even though Scatterboo was having a whale of a rookie season, Malik Neighbors had a great rookie season. They both did go down injured. It's going to take them some time to get back. And it's just not a lot of margin for error in that division because it's a good division. So I think Stefanski got the better situation. If Michael Penix can end up being his quarterback, now if he got to go find a quarterback, good luck, because he hasn't proven that he can develop a quarterback. Now, if Michael Penix can be the quarterback, if he's already in the building, then you're good to go. All you got to do is let him cook, build up the offensive line, maybe give him another offensive weapon or two, and then continue to build on the defensive side of the ball, because they got great weapons. Like Nephew said before, they was number 2 in sacks. Yeah. So they already get after the quarterback. That's half the battle. Now, like maybe you get another piece in the back end, what I'm saying, and you can start getting some turnovers. And then, like you can have a Chicago type situation where you get after the quarterback, you turn the other team over, and then you got one of the most dominant running backs in football, and you got a real number one receiver. So, but at any rate, man, go ahead, Neff.
Last question before we close out. Out of the 6 that are still open, which job intrigues y'all the most?
Oh, without a doubt, Buffalo. Because of Josh Allen. I mean, obviously a close second is going to be the Ravens because of Lamar. But I heard that I can't remember. It might have been Albert Breer that I was listening to. They said Buffalo is contemplating calling around to teams that have existing head coaches about trades. They ain't playing.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't, because I mean, your quarterback's 30.
Yep.
He played the physical brand of football.
Yep. How much longer is he gonna last?
And we saw Cam in the later years.
Yeah.
You get what I'm, like once
he fell off a cliff. Yeah.
I mean, once he started chasing that fumble, you give him that, you seen him just putting his body on the line unnecessarily, trying to, either silence the critics or the critic in his head.
Yep.
Because it was noticeable.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
then the injuries started piling up. And, now, we are where we are. I don't want that to happen to Josh Allen, where, he gets to, start playing an even more riskier brand of football because he's feeling up against it, because the window is closing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think, honestly, well, for me, I would say, even though I think they might screw it up, I'm interested to see what Vegas does.
Yeah. Vegas is always interesting, aren't they?
Yep.
Because you got to think about it. You're going to have a coach walk into a situation. You're going to have your quarterback, even though he might not. You got your quarterback. You got an edge rusher, even though, we got our thoughts on edge rushers on the show.
Yeah.
And that in the top of the food chain when it comes to contracts on them. But I feel like Vegas is it Miami West? Or if they get the right hire, are they gonna go back to those glory days of the 70s and the 80s and have it rolling?
I hope so, man. Because to your point, they spend money. The Raiders have never been shy, and they kind of, with Mark Davis and them, they live to make a splash. So you would think maybe eventually the Brady brain trust, because he's a kind of an organizational, analytical, data neat freak. Eventually he gets his bearings with that position and starts to identify, talent, and getting a team together that can identify the right talent. And then maybe they develop that culture that Neff's talking about, where, they get back to the silver and black business that they're accustomed to.
They got to build the trenches, though.
100%.
They're terrible in the trenches.
Yeah.
Like on both sides of the ball. Like both sides of the ball, they're bad in the trenches. So they have to build that. But yeah, I agree. The Vegas job, if they can manage to build the trenches, but they gonna have to do what New England did.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna have to spend a boatload of money.
Mark will do it.
Yep, in free agency, but it can be done.
And if they turn it around, I think it's no doubt about it. The AFC West is probably the hardest division in football.
But man, because who's
it's
back.
between the NFC North and the AFC West.
You know who's coming back.
I was gonna say, but that's the other part. Is that they play in a murderous division.
You know who's coming
back. That's
the
other, like, even if you get 100% better, you still play in a murderous division.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You still got the Chargers, you still got the Broncos, and you still got the Chiefs.
And the Chargers, by the way, did hire Mike McDaniel as their OC.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
that could be interesting there.
You still got a monstrous division. So, yeah, like, no, the Raiders, they up against it. That's a hard job. That's why I'm like, I like to go. That's why I think Stefanski got the better situation, because he got a division that's going to be up for grabs. Like 10 wins gets you the South every year.
Same with Saleh.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he got a division that's up for grabs. You get 10, 11 wins, you can get that division every year. You could win 10 games in the AFC West and miss the playoffs. And that's the nasty part, man. Thank y'all so much, man, for joining us another week, man, here on the Everybody Has One podcast, man. Y'all make sure y'all continue to like, share, and subscribe. That's Everybody Has the #1 sports podcast on YouTube. That's Everybody Has One spelled out everywhere else. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's Threads, that's Twitch, and that's TikTok. The audio version of the podcast is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Y'all make sure y'all telling everybody, man, when y'all watch those videos, watch them in their entirety. Share them. Share the links on your social media pages, your individual social media pages, man. And every time that we live, man, make sure y'all share that with people as well, and watch those videos in their entirety. Watch the shorts in their entirety and share them as well. We appreciate y'all so much for all of the love and the support. It is much, much, much appreciated. Join us back here next week, man, around 8:30, man. We've been going on around 8:30, less 8 o'clock, more 8:30. So we'll put that on the social sites. We also going to be doing a on-site on Super Bowl Sunday. That's coming up. because we coming up on championship weekend, man, down at Parlays. We will put all of that information on all the social sites, man. We're going to do a little flyer.
It's going to be a party, y'all.
It's going to be a good time, man. So y'all come and join us for that. Come meet us, man. We're going to have a little meet and greet time, and it's going to be a good time, man. And we're going to start doing some debate roundtables too, man. I had a vision for that, man. And I'm gonna chop it up with nephew and the people's champ, man. And we're gonna have some debate roundtables, man. In 2026, man, it's gonna be a great year for the Everybody Has One podcast, man. So y'all stick with us. And please continue to, again, like, share, and subscribe. Share with your people. Talk to your people about it, man. And stay in and keep hanging in there with us. We appreciate y'all so much. It's the Everybody Has One podcast. Peace.